Good morning. Good morning. It's here, Angelo for Outsource Business Command Center Inc. Just to share with you some interview tips. For some time, you have interviews and you don't know, what to answer. For example, this one is about a simple incident coordinator position. And some of the questions that may come in um, is, you know, some of the following. Okay. So, you know, when you go for an interview, so first of all, just make sure that you have, an ID so that, the secretary can be able to identify you. So if they can be able to identify you, then you're going to really make it because they are definitely able to identify who you are. So one primary ID, such as a birth certificate, a Canadian citizenship, or a PR document, a record of landing, verification of status request document. All those are documents that you can present, and then you can be accepted. You can be recognized as who you are. So make sure you do have those information before you even go for that interview. And so, obviously, if you have been driving your car, I suppose that you have gone with your driving license. That's good. So the second one is one secondary ID, such as Canadian passport, driver's license, provincial card, Nexus card, firearms license, study permit, work permit, certificate of Indian status. All those are documents that you may have to have when you're going for an interview. You don't have to have all of them, but if you have a primary and or a secondary, like I said, a primary could be like a birth certificate, a Canadian citizenship, and the other one could be a secondary ID, which can be a Canadian passport, a driver's license, so on. So once you arrive there at the interview, they might send you the online application to submit to for clearance. For example, for secret or for enhanced, depending on which secret level they want you to go for. So it's important that you are able to qualify for those type of questions. Anyway, that's good. So basically, those are the type of things you do have to have when you go for that specific interview. All right. So now let's go without further ado to the interview questions and answers. So, some of the skills that you may have to have for an incident coordinator position include perform the basic duties of the incident coordination role with a heavy focus on high and critical incidents. Participate in discussion with colleagues, clients, technical advisors, and managers to explain issues of a technical nature or to resolve technical issues. The other thing you may have to do in this role could be to maintain knowledge of trends and development in IT, service management, operations, and practices. I think if you're watching this, you probably have done that or you are willing to do it. The other task could be to maintain knowledge of trends and development in IT, service management, operations, and practices. They call it knowledge base. Sometimes, some people refer to it as a KB. Maintain knowledge of trends and development in IT. The other one is to be accountable for the incident record throughout its life cycle. That's incident detection, incident detection, diagnosis, repair, recovery, restoration, and the resolution. So you definitely have to know those trends and development in IT service management operation practices. You do have to know the incident record throughout its life cycle. You have to know the life cycle, which include incident detection, again, diagnosis, repair, recovery, restoration, and resolution. If you work in service desk, you have had this type of situation where you really demonstrate, the incident detection. You detect there is an incident which may come through email, which may also come through a call, which can also come through a chat, and in some situations it may also come through faxes. So that's the means of incident detection. It comes through a ticket system like a Remedy, a ticketing system like ServiceNow, a ticketing system like any other Peregrine that you may have used in your few years of technical support. Very good. So let's go to the so that detection as we spoke about it. So we have to look at, once you detect it, then you have to do the diagnosis. Diagnosis, it could mean a few things, like when you get that incident, you do have to determine, to say how you were able to receive that, that incident in the ticket. In some cases, you have to put the, where the client is calling from. You add details like, the phone number, if it comes through a phone call, determine which service, department they are calling or chatting from, and the issue also they are reporting, what is the error message, or what are the symptoms. For example, symptoms could include a black screen. Symptoms could, include issues like a blue screen of death. And so those are the type of incident. And then, of course, you saved the ticket. You might have to attach to that ticket some knowledge base which is available, so that you can show that you're following those steps which are over there, because in many cases the company has already determined the course of action to take, for certain type of incidents. All right. So the second thing that you may have to to do is to determine how you did a repair or recovery. The repair could be like in this situation where the caller was calling me, and they could not log on to their computer, and the computer was telling them, please lock your computer and try again. Basically, no, they could log in, but they could not go to VPN. So once they go to VPN, they will be told, they'll be given a message, please lock your computer and log in again. Now, she didn't know how to lock her computer. You had to explain how she had to click, to press the Windows key on her keyboard and the L key at the same time, so that she can be brought to the, to the locked screen, where she can press Control Alt Delete, or she can enter the, press login to enter the username and the password. In this situation, the user had already the user had already done what we call a reboot. They rebooted the computer, but the computer wouldn't let them do that, because what the computer was specifically asking was to lock the computer. If she reboot, that was not working. If she tried to do a shutdown, it was not working. So basically, that's what was going on, and that's exactly what the issue was. So when she was able to do that, she was able to log in with her username and password, and she was told that the password must be changed. So basically, that's all that you have to do in that ticket. So it's the restoration, or it's the repair. It's not really a repair, so it's a restoration. And after that, the user was able to change the password and was very grateful that she's able to log in now to VPN and connect to her work environment. Those are the type of restoration that we are talking about. And then we're going to go to the restoration and then the resolution. So the resolution is exactly, that after she was able to press the Windows key on her keyboard and the L key at the same time, she was able to log in to the computer, reset her password, and then was able to try and connect again to VPN, and that was successful. In that case, then you can be able to close the ticket. Very good, very good. So that is according to the approved incident management process. Like I said, the approved incident management process could be, found also in the knowledge base, that is available through your company. Now, you have to be accountable for the incident record throughout its life cycle: incident detection, diagnosis, repair, recovery, restoration, and resolution. That's it. Then you go to on-site authority for incident escalation during the incident life cycle and performs incident escalation according to approved escalation framework when necessary. On-site authority for incident escalation during the incident life cycle and performs incident escalation according to approved escalation framework when necessary. So the call comes in, and and you put down the details in the ticketing system. You might have, for example, to dispatch a technician, and the technician would be given, for example, a few hours to reach there if this is, for example, a very critical incident. For example, the technician has to go to the data center to power cycle a computer which is not responsive to a ping, from a distance, and they have to connect to that computer in order to do the resources. There are so many other people as well who connect to the same computer. So that technician would have to go there in a few hours. If it is a VIP, the technician would have to be there, for example, in 15 minutes or so. If it is something which is affecting, for example, internet, a network for a whole company, it's important that you make sure that the technician is dispatched as soon as possible. All right, so you escalate critical priority incidents to the major incident coordinator authority for assessment and the determination of incident priority. One of the companies I worked for example, he had what we call break-fix department, and it also had on-site departments. It also had For example, the network department. There's also something called data center department, and so or operations department. So and they also have service desk level 1, service desk level 2, and so on and so forth. So you would escalate according to the priority and according to the incident coordinator authority for assessment and determination of incident priority. All right. Most of these people then, if you want to go for this role, you should have at least a minimum of 2 years experience in information technology. That's very important because you're going to be an incident coordinator. You have to have a minimum of 2 years experience using an information technology service management, what we call ITSM ticketing tool or similar ticketing tool, such as ServiceNow, such as Peregrine, such as Jira, and so on. You have to have a strong communication skills. In Canada, you would be given a higher priority if you even have, bilingual French and English communication skills. Have good knowledge of the IT infrastructure, language, the IT infrastructure language, which is ITL, IT infrastructure language processes and procedures. You must hold Government of Canada Secret Level 2 clearance, for example, or you must hold, depending on the role, you might have also to have an incident, secret level 1, or you might have also an enhanced security clearance. That's if you go for the government, but you don't have to have those if you're going to go to work for private companies. They usually don't require that unless they will require to handle some tickets coming from the government, All right, so these seem to be the roles that you would have to assume in this situation. All right, so that's good. That's good. All right. Just going to be going through certain things that you may need to know as well. Just give me 1 second here. All right. So just a second. All right. What would you do if a team member was not joining a conference call and you needed them to be there? What step would you take? So that could be one of the ITIL, instant technology information language questions. What would you do if a team member was not joining a conference call and you needed them to be there? So I would say that if a team member was not joining a conference call and I need them to be there, I would definitely try to reach out through a phone call or through a Teams chat or even through an email as well, and make sure that they are still planning to attend, or whether they have got some technical difficulties. Sometimes their internet connection could have gone down at the same time, or they might have a phone issue, or they might have some other issues. So you definitely need to make sure that you reach them out through either a phone call through chat, for example, through Teams, or through also, other communication means like a phone call or an SMS and so on. And if somebody who is also sitting close to them, you might ask them if they are available. In some cases, it could be that the agent is busy on a very on a priority one ticket. Maybe just received a ticket from a VIP on the last minute, and they have to attend it. They have to resolve it before they attend the meeting. So you might have to find out. Sometime a colleague who is near them might be able to tell you what's going on with them. So the second question was, what was your most stressful IT incident? All right, so this question can be really interesting. It's a very good question. What was the most stressful IT incident? It really requires to go through your mind, your experience, because like I said, this would require, for example, a 2 years experience, and you definitely have got some examples that you can be able to give. So I would I recall when I was working with TCS, there was a caller who came in with a blue screen of death, and they wanted help fixing it, and as soon as possible. So, the operating system could not function, and it crashes due to hardware, dual kernel or driver failure. Knowing that this blue screen of death comes with an error code to resolve. So I had to make sure that I restart the computer, I update all the drivers. That's what I should have done. Restart the computer and then update all drivers. And if problem persists, this continue or unnecessary hardware to rule out any external causes, and also you have to rule out any external causes. Then you also boot put the computer in safe mode to see if the problem occurs in this basic state. Check the hard disk for bad sectors. System restore, install, upgrade if available. Checking hard disk cables and using the startup repair option from the startup from the boot menu question. And so those are the things that I had to do. But every time I restarted the computer, it always went through the same issues. Having tried all this stuff, it never worked. Now, the stressful part of it is that the user should have saved their content on OneDrive, because in any case we can always be able to reboot. I mean to change the computer, give them a new computer. But if they have not backed up their information, their data on a hard disk online, in the cloud, then it becomes difficult. And so that was the stressful part of it. And yet I knew that this customer had very critical data that she really needed to recover, because she was a manager, having so many responsibilities. And some of this data were really like 5 years, 5 years worthy of data and information. So that was stressful. Fortunately, as an IT specialist with many years of experience, I decided um, um, to open the computer, take tools and make myself dirty, and then remove the SSD and and make sure that everything is good on that part. So I was able to remove the SSD and enslave it to the other machine that I was going to provide to them, because I had to look for a machine which could be able to accommodate the same type of SSD, and then I sent it to them after having recovered all the data that was saved over there. So that's basically what was done to resolve, and the client was extremely happy for the service that was provided. So I hope that helped you to answer that question. What was your most stressful IT incident? Could come also another question. What was the most difficult customer service situation you have dealt with? Well, the most difficult customer service situation I've dealt with was a customer calling because the system was running very slowly and wanted the situation to be resolved. So first of all, I had to understand the situation because the client was calling really shouting, was not listening, and was complaining that the they were in trouble when they are on a deadline and this computer was not working at all. So I had to really have a background knowledge what caused the system to be running very slow. First of all, could be lack of sufficient memory. So I had to go ahead and remove temporary files from Windows folders. I had to go ahead and delete any unused files. I had to go ahead and run defragmentation tools to optimize space on the hard disk. And I had to delete cache from the browser and upgrade hard disk uh, to be able to help in this situation. To see, delete cache from the browser, upgrade hard disk to SSD, increase RAM, installing a more powerful processor, things like that. So those are the things that I had to do. But the customer was very, very much in a hurry, wanted to pressure everything. So I had to explain to them that we can be able to do a few things in this situation to make sure that it's going to be working very well. And then after that, so what I did was to make sure that I connected to them through SCCM, connection tool, and I was able to remove temporary files from Windows folder. I was able to delete any unused files and to run defragmentation tools to optimize space on the hard disk and delete cache from the browser. you know. So at that point, I was able to get them already working. Then I promised to resolve it that I was going to follow up with them to find out if the speed was good enough Otherwise, that would be able to take the next step to upgrade the hard disk, to increase the RAM, install a more powerful processor. That's definitely how I was able to resolve this most stressful, stressful IT incident. Next one was could be, what was the most difficult customer service situation you have dealt with? All right. The most difficult customer service situation I dealt with was a user who was complaining that they did not have Teams and emails, because they thought that they would have to have Teams and emails. But that was not the case because they didn't not have the right license. They were not approved yet for the right license, and they were in a very tight deadline to attend the meetings and to be able to see their messages, and so they wanted really to make sure I can download the Teams app and the Outlook app. But knowing the difference between the app and the web version, I was able to convince them that for now they were approved for the web version, licenses. So I was able to guide them through how they can be able to definitely use office.com to sign in and access the web version of their email and even their web version of their Teams. How would you determine the priority and how would you manage your time? Well, to determine priority, it always have to depend on who is calling and or whose ticket it is. If it is a VIP calling, of course they are going to have to be to take precedence over any other user calling, because the calls or their tickets have to be treated with higher priority. If it is something affecting productivity at a company level, at a global level, and affecting many services, that one have also to take precedence over every other call. So, they are called priority one, and then there are priority two, and the priority three, and then priority four, and the priority four being the lowest. What are your strong points? Well, this question to me is about what the company in this case is really looking for. So in this case, it is view about incident detection. I could say that my strong point is really to be able to resolve the every ticket in a timely manner after the incident detection and the classification, and I'm able to do a quick diagnosis and go through the resolution process and causing the ticket and following up with every ticket which is not closed. And so my most really strong point is really related to following up with SLA, and thus providing great customer service to our users. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope this was very helpful to you as I prepared it for everyone who is hoping to work in as an incident coordinator, in an IT company or in a government company. May God bless you, and hopefully you are able to subscribe and of course to like my video. God bless you. Have a great day.